this story here is scientists control minds using switches in the first time this has ever happened.
Yeah, well, it's not the first time it's ever happened.
First time we're being told.
It's the first time that they're claiming it's happened.
Right.
Because one of the points I've been making over the years is if you can see it in the public arena in terms of technological development, then it's light years behind what they're actually capable of doing in the underground bases and the secret projects. Yeah, I was interested in this story because it fits in perfectly with what I've been saying all these years, all these decades about the plan for a hive mind. And, you know, since the 1990s, I've been calling the human body a biological computer. Now, these people in the shadows, they know it's a biological computer and they treat it as a biological computer. And it's a much more advanced computer, if you like, than you know, the desktop, obviously. It's a fantastically more advanced, but the principle remains the same.
Yeah.
And so when you look at people like Elon Musk and Neuralink, what's happening? It's the same with his rockets with SpaceX. It's a fake cutting edge. It's presented as the cutting edge of a certain technology, like the cutting edge of connecting the brain to artificial intelligence and computers is to take a piece of the skull out and put wires in the brain. You know, well, sorry, that's the Stone Age, Mr. Musk, as I'll come to. And then you've got these rockets going up. Oh, it's the cutting edge of space technology. When I mean, we've covered this, and Richard has covered this in Classified many times. There is technology outside of the public knowledge that is like Star Trek compared with Musk's rockets. So if you give people a fake cutting edge or perception of it, of technological development, then you can be manipulating them with far more advanced stuff, but they think this is the cutting edge, so you can't be doing that. So if we then break this down, this hive mind, it's about two things. First of all, it's creating a technologically generated electromagnetic field, which they're calling the cloud. And you do this by 5G towers in urban areas and increasingly other areas, 6G, 7G to come. And you crucially do it with low orbit satellites. Tens of thousands have now been given permission to go up there. And the front man or the front company that's doing it is SpaceX and Elon Musk. Here we go again. Are you listening, alternative media? And so the other element is you've got the cloud, the electromagnetic field, ultimately encompassing the Earth, through which you can send frequencies, you can send information in the form of frequency. What you then need is something to receive that frequency and impact upon the human mind as a result. And this is the crucial reason for the COVID fake vaccine. As we've seen so many times now, although you won't see this in the mainstream, looking through very powerful microscopes, you can see nanotechnology in the jabbed and in the non-jabbed as well, because there are other sources for this as well, not just the fake vaccines, but they are the prime one. And it's self-replicating and building structures, technological structures in the body. And a fundamental part of that content of the fake vaccine vial is something called graphene oxide. Now, graphene oxide is a superconductor of electricity. And so now you think, okay, well, if that gets in the brain, it's going to mess with the electrical means through which we process information. The brain is communicating with the body and the cells and vice versa through electrical means. So if you can impact upon that, you're going to change everything, both physically, as we perceive physical, and psychologically. And the other thing about graphene oxide is it is an amplifier of electromagnetic fields in the body. So if you are in contact with an electromagnetic field, i.e. the cloud, then the impact of that upon the body and the brain is amplified by the graphene oxide. That's why it's there. And when you see and you get deep into this, and I've gone into this in great detail over the years, the body, because it's a biological computer, it's switchable, it's changeable through external influence. And that's where this story you mentioned comes in. And again, let me emphasize, this is not the cutting edge. Yep. It's what we're being allowed to see in the public arena. Scientists control minds using switches in the brain in world first. Scientists have been able to conduct, quote, mind control remotely in an incredible world first experiment. Mind control might seem like something out of science fiction, with possibly the closest thing we can get to consciously controlling our own minds without technology being lucid dreaming. At the change of the magnetic field, mice were able to be told to feed, socialize with others, and act with maternal instincts as researchers targeted areas of the brain associated with these actions. Do you know, a long time ago, Jay, one of the earlier books in the 1990s, I was talking about all this then, and I mentioned a Russian experiment where they were in this kind of stately home kind of location. And there were gardeners just doing the gardens, right? And what they did is they fired this energy weapon, this basically a frequency, carrying information at these gardeners. And of course, the gardeners had no idea what was going on. And the information was, put your tools down, go into the house for a cup of tea. Words to that effect. When they fired this stuff at them, frequency information, which the brain then decodes into what you think is your own thoughts, they put the tools down and went in and had a brew.
So based on that, you're saying that you think they can influence the brain already, but having this technology will just make them more control.
Yeah.
They can do it already.
They can do it already, but what I'm talking about, Jay, is mass hive mind control. Which is through creating this electromagnetic cloud, ultimately to hit every inch of the planet. And then to put through that medium information, instruction, thought patterns, which the body would then receive via this nanotechnology. And people will then think, feel emotion, and therefore act in ways that related to what they were being told. And so this is the hive mind. How long have I been warning this hive mind was being planned? So researchers from the Institute of Basic Science and Yonsei University in South Korea have engineered mice that have nanoparticle activated switches, electromagnetic fields, to remotely activate circuits of the brain. And this is what is developing now, where the more this cloud expands, thank you, Mr. Musk, and the more this communication takes place and the receiver transmission in the body, particularly the receiver, starts to again expand and expand as it is self-replicating, then the idea is to turn human beings into basically computer terminals on the cult internet.
Yeah.
And I saw this clip, which we're just going to see. It's by it's a scientist who lives in Geneva called Astrid Stuckelberger, and I've spoken with her because I was approached by La Quinta Columna, the research team, looking really seriously looking and revelatory in its findings about the COVID fake vaccine, which they were kind of finding the same thing I'm talking about. And we did a Zoom call at their request, and Astrid was there, and she was talking about her experiences working for the World Health Organization. She's worked for many of these operations and seen from the inside that actually this, quote, conspiracy is actually true. So in this clip, she's talking about biocoding, which is coding the biological computer to do what you want it to.
Yep.
So we know that biocoding exists since 50 years, but it's become very sophisticated now. And they can send this biocode to the oxide graphene. It's a terahertz. It can stock, you probably know that. It can load the data up to terahertz, and it can send it. And so it is like a computer. Bill Gates is perfectly suited, with his engineers to develop this with DARPA. So we know that this can take control of the mind and of the body. And I invite everybody who has not seen this fantastic video of Dr. Charles Morgan of DARPA, and he's teaching on YouTube, the military, how oxide graphene can take command of someone on the other side of Earth through Wi-Fi.
Okay, so she's talking there about a presentation by this guy, Dr. Charles Morgan. This is in 2018. So let's see what she was talking about here, or part of it. Morgan was connected to the CIA and DARPA, the technological development arm of the Pentagon.
Very sinister organization.
And what he's doing in this clip, in fact, it's a long presentation. You can see it on the internet if you want to find it. He's telling a military gathering how it's possible to wipe the memory of someone. So you basically go to year zero, where they have no memory of the past. You can insert memories, he points out, that didn't happen, and you can transfer memories from one person to another. Apparently, sleep is a big a time where this becomes very possible, and they can target specific people, individuals, or en masse, and they can target specific races. So here's an example of what he was describing as possible, and this happened in 2018.
But the French have published a very interesting paper, and it is this. While people were sleeping, they were able to train them and sample their knowledge in what they trained them in while they were asleep and while they were later awake and didn't know that they'd learned the information. So I'll say it again. In people who were asleep, they were able to tell what people knew around word recognition lists without ever waking the person up. They were also able to train new memory and information outside the person's awareness while they were asleep. Where that technology can go is some very interesting places. It would really raise, since I was in the lane of DS&T and we talked about deception and everybody was arguing about how to interrogate people, it raises an immediate question about whether or not you can sample information in people's brains outside of their awareness. The problem with a CAT scan and a PET scan and any technology is you have to have a willing subject. They do need to sit still. If people are asleep and you can begin to sample what their brain recognizes, it offers a number of opportunities at looking at guilty knowledge, brain recognition waveforms, and sampling some kinds of information. I don't know how soon it will be when you can link someone's brain to somebody else's. while they're asleep, but I would imagine that can't be far off. I'd probably ballpark it and say probably 5 years. If they have to do the brain implants, we'll know sooner, because I can't see any other reason why DARPA got approval for 500 deep brain implants. I think the next step is going to be a hive brain. It's already been done in rats. You can link multiple brains, and as a hive, they solve problems much faster than the individual rat. So that technology's here. I'm assuming they'll link people who've given permission to link their brains to have a productive life, live in virtual reality, move robotic things. They can probably problem solve. So I think in the next few years, that's what we'll see, is brain-to-brain linking for problem solving, to see if it makes it more efficient.
What's very interesting there is the particular part, which when I read this morning, the gene editing technology that says they can engineer a unique thing to kill one person. You've just described the last James Bond film. That was the exact plot, was that this crazy guy had developed, the same guy that played Freddie Mercury, actually, in Bohemian Rhapsody.
Oh, really?
He's the villain, yeah. And it's incredible to see him play the role, and he does play it very well. They're creating a place in this island in the South China Sea where they make these particular types of gene therapy that can target one individual.
Yeah, well, you see, what they do a lot is they put out things that appear to be sci-fi.
Yeah, it's like preemptive.
Yeah, because they already exist. This is what I was saying about anything in the public arena is nowhere near the cutting edge. So they can put things out which seem far out and extreme in movies, like, you know, the various movies, this dystopian movies that they're constantly putting out. But actually what they're describing, while it's not in the public arena yet, it does exist, right? So you look at so many things, even in things like Star Trek, and you'll see technology that is now basically commonplace. Mm-hmm. And so what Morgan was talking about there, again, he mentioned the term, was the hive mind. And he's talking about it from a point of view, if you get lots of minds connected, they have the greater capacity for perception and thought. But that's not what it's about. It's about connecting minds to the cloud and then telling the minds en masse what they think. That's what it's about.